was interesting, the one that stood out, the session that stood out the most, I was in a remote farmhouse, and he's in LA, and I'm laying on my back, and we decided at the time to begin. And then we decided to speak after to sort of talk about what I felt and what went on. And there was at one point I could feel like down my core energy happening and in certain places at certain times. And no matter how much you believe or how much you have faith or whatever, there's still this little piece of you that doubts, right? And when I was talking with him about what I was feeling, the work that he was doing coincided at that same time. He was like, exactly, that's where I was, doing the work. So that never ceases to amaze me. And he's under the hood and doing the work, and I could feel it. And it's immediately after, I actually just had a little session right now. You can feel, I guess, a relief, a lightening. My headache that I have from allergies and a cold right now is better. And I guess for me, the most that I could feel is a movement of the energy within me. And then the relief of, say, a pressure, or with depression, I was dealing with some pretty heavy stuff, and the depression lifting a little, and I think it's important to allow that work to be done and allow us to get out of the way of it, but definitely a transformation and an undeniable shift from when you start to when you finish. I feel like I don't know how everybody experiences it, because I'm just me in my own body, but when I feel energy, or if I had Reiki or energy work done, or just get confirmation on a thought or insight or whatever, you get like I call it shing. It's like electric energy more than just goose flesh from being cold. But it's kind of similar in that, but I noticed it in different parts of my body, and I especially noticed it during Richard's treatments, where it's moving in certain places. This last time that I did it, I noticed a lot in my core, and then it would come like a wave all over, like whoosh, tingly electrical around my waist, around my core, around my hips and legs. And then as the treatment progressed, it's almost like, I don't know if my body was waking up, and especially since I had a headache, I thought it was really interesting that I was feeling it all over except for like my neck up. Maybe it was shutting down or something. And then toward the end of the session, when I'd get a wave of energy and tingly, it started coming up, and then it was fully in my head too, and in the top. So it almost felt like, just like they say you could shut down chakras or whatever, that through the session it opened everything up, so that I was feeling the energy all over versus just down below, and then just in my core. It was almost like creeping, all up, and then finally I am all alive, all head to toe, So, yeah.
Talk to me about, you remember in Wisconsin, you sent me a picture, and you said that was what the colours and things were like. Can you describe the colours?
Oh, yeah. It's been a little while, and I'm just trying to remember. I had remembered that feeling so distinctly in the farmhouse bedroom. But yeah, I was seeing a lot of visuals, and there were some colors, and I had sent him a picture. But that was almost an explosion of color. Now, if you had other times, just like when we just did a session, I saw distinct colors. It was like white light and then there was like a violet or indigo little spots, and then solid light. More indigo this time than like purple violet. But when I was in Wisconsin, it came through more colors, more. And then immediately after I saw this picture, and I was like, that's what it was, and I sent it, what I saw. But definitely it's like a waking up, like I think with our stress or whatever, I'm just riffing here, but feels like probably we shut down certain spots, or whatever. And I think that there's a function of Richard's healing that wakes it up, turns the electric lights on in certain rooms that we'd shut them off.
Yeah.
At that particular time, I was going through some pretty intense stuff. Still am, but was really intense with all aspects of life, with a child and everything, and financial stress, physical stress, everything. And it seemed to, the anxiety, the physical anxiety was lightened. And just an ability to move and do what I had to do, I guess the best way I can describe it is like when you take, maybe you have a headache relief, and when you had the headache, you didn't really realize how much it was sort of taxing you until it's gone. So when there was just a relief and a lifting of like this pressure, it seemed, then you really noticed how much pressure was there once it was lifted. So there was a lifting of that anxiety and depression kind of cloud. Yeah, so very helpful. And I think we try to do it ourselves and beat ourselves up, and sometimes we need to go deeper, outside of our conscious mind to get that. And I think that Richard's modality helps to do that.
Well, it was great because afterwards I always felt like more energy. I felt more relaxed. For the next day or so, basically I felt a general overall good feeling. After the session, sometimes I want to take a nap, I want to rest, but then that was just that energy coming back later. I felt some tingling sensations in certain places that I had problems with before, whether it's the legs or the arms. In general, sometimes the head, because I've always had tension in the head and neck. So in general, I just felt very good. It's almost like I was having a physical type of massage or acupuncture, but there's no touching. And so it was very interesting. I kind of fade off and dream and go into different states of, seeing things, but in a very positive way. So it was a very good experience. Well, my experiences have been very positive. I've had a number of, I call them energy feelings, pulsating through my arms, through my legs, through my head, which is usually a place I've had some tension and so forth. A general overall feeling of calm and peace, yet at the same time re-energized, which is kind of interesting. Just felt better, overall homeostasis for myself. And with the next couple of days, I felt that continue for a while. I was able to deal with some situations better than I had in the past, such as school where I teach, which I'm kind of stressed out and somewhat burned out, but I felt more comfortable. And also situations, whether it's home or with some of my side businesses I'm interested in. It gave me a better overall feeling so that I didn't feel anxious when things in the past I felt anxious about. In addition, for my health, it really helped out because, like I said, I felt more energetic, so I felt like going out to exercise the next couple of days for a while. In addition, it helped to foster some changes in my life that occurred for the positive. One of the things that happened, which is kind of interesting, is I decided, after I did the Reconnective healing, I decided to go down to a San Diego film festival where a friend of mine was moderating, where you're going to pitch in front of investors from Russia, China, South America. And I went down with no expectations, and I just done the Reconnective healing. And after I did my presentation, I had several of them call me up that they wanted to meet with me afterwards, so they kept me for several hours until almost 8 or 9 o'clock at night, from 3 o'clock on, talking about how they want to invest in my films, some of the films I had. Next thing I know, they were inviting me to come to China with my other friend who was moderating. And so we had an all expense paid trip to China and ended up making a deal with a Chinese production company to work with them on a film production. So all that happened basically after I had the Reconnective healing. It seemed like a lot of things began to flow much easier. So it's kind of dramatic, and I'd never had anything like that before. I'd never thought I'd get a trip to go to China and see the Great Wall and get everything paid for. That was very nice.
And you think that was directly connected?
It's definitely a connection. Now, of course, we always think of what percentage does this happen and that happen, but you know, there's coincidence and then there's things that are beyond coincidence. So I'm sure this had an impact on it. And it had a catalyst, could be a good description of it, to have events start to fall into your place. So that's why I would say with Reconnective healing, you know, what do you have to lose? You know, there's a lot of things we have blocked in our life. There's a lot of things that seem to not be going our way. That was one example for me. So
some of the first sensations were some tingling in my arm, my left arm in particular. And it actually felt like it was like vibrating, like maybe it was going to come off the table. I don't know if it did or not.
Really, that much?
And then a little bit in my right arm as well. And then I'm trying to think other like sensations. Just super relaxed overall. I felt not pain, but like definitely strong feelings in here. And also my stomach was like gurgling. And at one point I definitely felt like maybe I was going to levitate for a second. I felt like that feeling when you go really, really deep into meditation where you feel like you're just completely out of your body. I probably was there for a while, maybe like 10 minutes, I think. At one point I saw like the blue triangle. And I was like trying to hold on to it. I was like staring at it and saying, go in, go in, go in, but I didn't.
Really?
But I didn't. And
So you actually saw it
mm-hmm.
just above your head?
More here,
Okay.
like when you meditate.
At what stage was that in the session?
Towards the end.
Towards the end. Interesting.
Yeah, just really, really relaxed. Very relaxed. One thing I did notice, I think it's a lot better, is my jaw. Felt relaxed right away because it's been hurting a lot right in here.
Right.
So that felt better right away. And yeah, I guess the other just part is it felt like it went by maybe like, it felt like it was like half the time.
It felt like what?
When you said it's 30 minutes, the session, I think it felt more like 10 or 15. So the time went by really quickly.
So do you think you fell asleep at all?
No,
Interesting.
I don't fall asleep easily.
Oh. So what other parts of the body did you feel the energy in?
The ones I just described. Arms, stomach, here.
Right.
Sorry.
What about in your face?
Well, so like I said, some of the pain was alleviated here.
Right.
I just kept thinking my lips were really dry, but nothing other than that on my face.
Interesting. Yeah. Because from my perspective, what I was seeing was a heck of a lot of movement of your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice your eyes moving?
I mean, a little bit. I think I was noticing them. I think I was trying to meditate a little bit, so I was like doing third eye stuff. But no, I didn't really notice that.
Because from my perspective, your eyeballs were following the energy,
Oh, cool.
like ping pong balls. You know
Interesting.
that game,
Mm-hmm.
arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't following. I was not trying, but I was following where you were going. Yeah,
Right.
like I kind of felt you like going around the table, and I definitely noticed some point when you were over here, like when you were close. I definitely
When
felt
did you
that.
notice that?
More towards the end.
Well, that's where I was in the beginning, actually.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see where you think I am and where,
Mm-hmm.
at least at some stage, I know I was actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I was seeing was your And again, this is really interesting from my perspective because your left eye was bigger than your right eye, and sort of moving very strongly, growing in size. And then you had a twitch going on here.
What do you mean growing in size?
With your eyeball
Oh, okay.
growing in size. And I did notice the chi moving in your stomach as well, which is a great sign, actually.
It was gurgling
Like-
quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like a detoxing
Yeah.
feeling.
Good. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so overall, what do you think was happening?
Just energy moving.